Hello, and welcome back to the Brandon and Daryl Experience, or BDE for short. I'm Daryl.
And I'm Brandon.
And today, it's a really exciting day, at least for me. We're going to be talking about the 2022 Academy Awards. We're going to be making our predictions. So I am a really big awards junkie. So every year I track the awards. I look at the different stats and stuff like that, and try to figure out okay, so who's going to win when the Oscars finally come around. Ultimately, I agree with most people that the Oscars don't mean anything, but but it's still really fun to kind of just pay attention to it. And yeah, it's kind of like my Super Bowl. So what we're gonna do is we have a set number of categories written down that we're gonna go through. We're not gonna go through all the categories, but we're gonna go through our predictions for all the major awards plus a few techs that are listed, and just give our thoughts and feelings on the potential winners, nominees, and what we think will happen. Brandon, do you want to add anything before we get started?
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoy this, even though I'm not as much of a technical or even critical movie watcher as you, Daryl, but I've been enjoying this every year that we've been doing it since, 2017?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
We've been doing this for a while now, where we've been doing our predictions.
The Moonlight La La Land debacle.
Yes, watching that live was oof. I don't think it's been the same since in terms of high entertainment, but yeah, that's all I have to add. I'm ready whenever you're ready.
All right. Yeah, no, I'm good to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to start at the bottom of our list. We're going to start off with editing and work our way up. We'll also talk a little bit about what some of the precursors have been showing as far as winners and nominees, and just go through. So I guess to kick us off, we're going to start with Best Film Editing. So the nominees for Best Film Editing are Don't Look Up, Dune, King Richard, The Power of the Dog, and Tick, Tick, Boom. So, Brandon, what do you think will
win? I'm hoping that Don't Look Up will win. I'm a little bit biased towards that movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it when I watched it, I don't know, however many weeks ago, and I thought, the intersecting of those shots where it's showing especially towards the end of the movie, and sorry if it's spoiling, it's not really a big spoiler, but towards the end of the movie when they have that Armageddon feeling happening, and they're splitting between shots of everything going around the world, how everyone's either living their lives peacefully in ignorance bliss, or just animals wandering about their business, just again, they don't know anything that's going on, that the world's about to end. Or there's everyone looking up at the sky, seeing the giant, is it a meteor, asteroid? I don't know. What is it?
Yeah, it's
an asteroid. I think it's a comet. There you go.
It's a comet, yeah.
Yeah, hurtling towards Earth. And I just saw it I don't know, for me, those little moments right there, and they did sparse throughout the movie too, but especially just those scenes, this really hit home for me, because it actually really solidified wow, people don't care, or life would just move on as is no matter what. So I don't know, it conveyed that very well.
Okay, yeah. And yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't think that so I have Dune as my main prediction. I think that Dune is probably going to take this award. I feel like the movie, considering the length and how much information is being conveyed to you and stuff like that, I think that may come across as something to be recognized with the Academy. However, I do think that Don't Look Up has a really good shot here, mainly because I think that it, even though it's the movie with the most editing, I think the thing about that movie is that the movie, there are people who love it, and then there are people who hate it, people who hate it with a burning passion, and they feel they act like it fucking killed their dog, they really do not like this movie. But I think that that's kind of part of the point, is that the movie uses its editing to convey this frustration and anger, and it does a really good job at it will cut to random shit, while people are talking about this serious event, we'll cut to a pocket watch, and then it will cut to a tree, and then we'll cut to this and that and the other. And I think it's doing that to kind of add to the anxiety of just these people just don't care about what's going on. and like just like kind of making you feel as frustrated as the characters do in the moment. So like if Don't Look Up won, I can't, I'm not gonna lie, I think I would be pretty happy with that. Now I think the big other nominee here is Power of the Dog, which I don't have as one of my like top 2 predictions. I think it's definitely like in my definitely at 3 for me. I think it's a really well edited movie, but I just have a feeling that Dune with its technical prowess and Don't Look Up with like the very flashy editing, I feel like might take it over Power of the Dog. So
yeah, no, I agree. My honorable mention was Tick Tick Boom. It didn't do anything really special, but I thought it was just well compiled for, you know, a musical movie or movie musical.
Yeah.
So it's my honorable mention, but again, I'm a little biased. But I think, yeah, Daryl, you're right with Dune being. I think it's definitely just between Dune and Don't Look Up.
Yeah, it definitely. Yeah. Okay, I mean, moving on to our next category, we're going to talk about cinematography, which we have kind of like a list put together, and we're kind of on the same page with cinematography. So, in my opinion, any one of these could win, and I'd be perfectly fine with it. I think all of them are really well shot, really well done. West Side Story, I really love the cinematography there. Janusz Kaminski is a fucking god when it comes to cinematography, but I do think that this is between Greg Fraser for Dune and Ari Wagner for The Power of the Dog. And I think that, like, again, going back to like Dune with like its technical prowess, I think that we've seen a history of movies like that winning cinematography. So like we've seen Inception do it, we've seen Gravity do it. We've seen
Interstellar.
Interstellar didn't win cinematography. I think, what year was Interstellar? It was 2014. It lost to what is it called? Birdman. It lost to Birdman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, which is also a really well shot movie from the same cinematographer as Gravity. But but yeah, no, I think that like that Dune really has that award in the bag, and it really at this point is Greg Fraser's to lose. But if Ari Wagner won for Power of the Dog, I think that would be a really deserving win. And I think the Power of the Dog, we didn't mention this, but the Power of the Dog is leading the number of nominations at 12. So it already kind of has that large amount of power with the Academy, so I can't, no pun intended. So it's hard for me to see them like not giving it to Power of the Dog, but again, Dune. So
yeah, actually, just before, because I don't really think I have much to add in terms of this, but I actually heard, I think it was cinematography, that or another category, but Nightmare Alley, I heard a lot of people like ragging on it. Oh no, it was for editing. Never mind, I take that back.
Oh, Nightmare Alley for editing.
Yeah, I think people had issues with it for editing, not cinematography. So I'll drop my point. I should have mentioned that before.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I mean, I can imagine, like, we watched Nightmare Alley a few days ago, and I remember, like, saying that, like, I do like the movie a lot, but the pacing of that basically the first half of the movie, the pacing there, I think, is a little, it's just a little too slow. But once you get into, like, the movie and into the plot, all that stuff was important, but it's just, like, it just takes a minute to, like, get in, you know? All right. Yeah. So then moving into score. So we have very different picks here. So
yes.
You could go ahead first, like talk about your picks.
All right. Again, I'm not really passionate about either of these picks. It's more so just like hearsay and whatnot. I haven't even seen my top choice, which was Encanto. But based on the fact that everyone is singing, you know, like, we don't talk about Bruno. Yeah. I don't know why. I mean, if we were talking about best song, I feel like maybe that'll win in that case. But the fact that it's a Lin-Manuel Miranda, like, well, actually, it's not. Well, he didn't do the score, but he did. You know, he was part of the soundtrack and whatnot.
Like
Yeah, so he wasn't in charge of the score, but you know, like I'm sure Jermaine Franco worked with him with composition and whatnot to kind of match the vibe that he was aiming for. So, and then also since Encanto's Disney owns ABC. ABC's, you know, I don't know. I just feel like they'll probably give the score to Encanto, but my second choice was Power of the Dog. It's not like the most memorable score, but I also feel like it's a safe choice. Just because like it does its job. I think there's a few scenes where it's like it pans over like the landscape, and then they have like a very somber, or like just like a nice muted, like, I don't know, piece to go along with it, as opposed to like a, you know, like a spaghetti western, like where it's like wah, wah, wah. Like, you know, it's not like your typical like cowboy or like music that you would envision with like a western like this. It was because it really matches the vibe. So that's why I choose Power of the Dog as my second choice.
Okay, yeah, no, I definitely think that those are good choices. I think the Encanto of it all, that is a really good point. And what's really funny is that We Don't Talk About Bruno isn't the song from Encanto that's nominated for Best Original Song.
It's not? What is it? Wait, what is it then?
So, fun fact about the Academy. So basically, every year they come up with like a short list, and the studio, in this case Disney, had to submit a song from Encanto to be nominated for Best Original Song. And they chose Dos Oruguitas, which is like the... I don't know, did you ever get a chance to watch Encanto?
No.
So in the movie, it's like the emotional ballad that plays when we see like the backstory of the grandmother. And so I guess they chose that because it's kind of like the Remember Me from Coco, where it's like this is like the really emotional song. But like I guess they just didn't envision We Don't Talk About Bruno, which is like the most, I guess, which is the song with the most like exposition, being the one that blew up and that everyone loves. So if
they should know that the popular music is what hits, not the heartfelt good music.
Well, it was before the movie had actually come out. They submitted it. Well, that's why.
And they accept it. They should have resubmit. Who does that? They're just like, man, this is a song that's going to get us this award.
But this is the thing about like the world we live in as far as like streaming versus like theatrical releases. The movie came out in theaters in November, dropped on Disney Plus in December, and it didn't blow up until January. Like the movie, they should have dropped it on Disney Plus, and literally they would have known exactly what they needed to do. But they obviously did not understand the assignment.
They didn't want another ScarJo incident.
Oh like, God, shit. Could you imagine?
I think we gotta watch What We Do now.
That would be funny. But yeah, no. So I do think that Encanto kind of benefits from being like a very, like a musical, because that tends to happen sometimes. You'll see like a musical win score. That happened with La La Land. I have mixed feelings on it, but in this case, I chose Dune for Hans Zimmer. Part of it is because I think the score does such a great job at helping out the world building in the movie. And it's like, as soon as the movie opens, it's the first thing you notice. Now, I think Dune's score and Power of the Dog score kind of have a similar thing going on, where they're not traditional, like, music scores. Like, there is no, like, main motif that you think of when you think about these scores. There isn't, like, a specific rhythm or a specific, like, sound that makes them, like, stand out in the traditional sense. Like, in Power of the Dog... I'm sorry?
Uh-oh. No, you go first.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. I was
gonna say, in Power of the Dog, like, when I think about the score, the first thing I think of is, like, the plucking. There's a lot of, like, plucking, like, orchestral, like, instruments. So, like, there's a lot of plucking. There's a lot of just, like, random piano notes. Like, it sounds like someone's just tapping on a piano. And, like, things like that. And then when I think about the Dune score, outside of the, like, throat singing. Yeah. Outside of the throat singing, I also think of like just like the loud percussive sounds, like the loud like drumming that happens literally the second the movie comes on. But I think that like this is low key Hans Zimmer's best work in a while, probably since Inception in my opinion, or maybe Interstellar. So I could definitely see that happening. And then my second pick is Don't Look Up, Nicholas Britell. I think that score really goes a long way because of the main motif, which is like the loud trumpets and like just like this. I don't even know how to describe it, but it's really, really good. It's really bombastic. But Nicholas Britell is someone who's been nominated. I think this is his third nomination. And people have wanted him to win every time he's been nominated. He was nominated for Moonlight, lost to La La Land. He was nominated for If Beale Street Could Talk. He lost to Black Panther that year. And now this year, Don't Look Up. So I think that Nicholas Britell has a shot at winning his first Oscar. But again, I think at this point, it's Hans Zimmer. Maybe Johnny Greenwood, but really Hans Zimmer.
Oh, man. Because I just feel so differently about, like, Dune's score. Like, it's I don't know. But I'm also, again, I'm biased in the opposite way where I already have my negative viewpoints. But the score, especially where, for me, when you said there's no motif, I'm just like, the motif is just, is like, like the throat singing that would just come out of nowhere, and I'd be like, this is unnecessary. The first time it was cool, and like I understood it, it made sense, and then you kept doing it like 2 or 3 more times, and I was just like, no, I'm lost now.
Like, it's not the Harry Potter theme. It's not Interstellar. It's not like it's not a traditional like score in that sense.
No, and I know what they're trying to go for, because obviously this is a very sci-fi overworldly movie that they're trying to convey, but like I don't know. It just wasn't. It didn't stick with me as much. If anything, now knowing Nicholas Patel's like backstory and history behind it, knowing that he has multiple nominations, I kind of want to put my second. You know, I feel like he might. I'm hoping he might get it. He might get it like the the pity award, where he's like, you know what, we may not have liked it as much, but here you go.
There is potential because I think that like. Across the board, no matter how people felt about Don't Look Up, the one thing that people did praise was the score. Like, people really did like the score. So I could definitely see that happening. Now, I will say, we have not seen Parallel Mothers. I wanted to see it, and then it dipped out of the theater that I was going to see it at, so it's still on my list.
Those mothers were just like, you want to see us? Goodbye.
Literally one day I was like, oh, hey, there's showtimes for Parallel Mothers. I'll go and see that. Then like literally 2 days passed and I was like, oh, hey, I have time. Let me go see Parallel Mothers. I looked, it wasn't playing anymore. And I was like, well, damn.
I guess I won't watch it.
Yeah, so I'll see it when I see it. Who knows? Maybe it'll drop on streaming like tomorrow. I don't know.
HBO. Check it out today.
Right. Okay, so moving into animated, I feel like this one's pretty easy, considering.
Yeah.
So, we both chose Encanto. I see. Wait, sorry. Did you choose Encanto as your first choice or second choice?
Yes, it's my first choice.
Okay, yeah. So Encanto. I think that like, the movie just had like this huge surge at the end of the year. Everyone's still singing We Don't Talk About Bruno. It's a big deal. Honestly, this particular year in animation, I think was, like, there were some really good movies, but, like, I don't know. I was very, like, kind of whatever on Encanto. Like, there are things I like about it, but for the most part, I just thought the movie was fine. But I feel like because of that surge, it's definitely going to get it. Now, our second choice is Mitchell vs. Machines. I have thoughts though. You can go ahead first though. Like, what are your thoughts?
As ironic as it is, I have not seen either of these movies. I really want to watch Mitchell and the Machines. I just never got around to it. Like, I have it in my queue on Netflix. I'm just like, I want to watch it, and I just never have. But I put it as like my second choice just because it's the same studio that made or animated Spider-Verse. And they have a very strong styling, like that you can tell, like, you know, that it's the same studio, and I feel like they have a good direction in terms of how to, like, you know, do animated movies, like just based on Spider-Verse alone. And I have a feeling that and I heard good things, like I heard praises go towards it. I don't think it's the winner because again, it's, you know, Disney. You're going up against Disney.
Yeah.
With that being said, though, 3 Disney movies. Well, technically 1 Pixar. But I didn't hear much like good things about Luca. Not bad things, but I just didn't hear much about Luca other than Fish Boy Italian. That like people are like, these boys are getting coded as gay, and it's like, I don't think that's what they were going for. But if you want to take it that way.
Well, I think that like the thing about Luca in comparison to the other nominees here is that it's not very well. Actually, I'll talk a little bit about Flea. I haven't seen Flea, but like a little bit of Oscar stuff with that movie as well. But Luca, I think the thing about it is that it doesn't really have a plot. It's not really
just
like
there.
Well, yeah, it's like Encanto. It's like, oh, a young girl has to go on this journey to save the magic. Raya and the Last Dragon, we have to go on this journey to stop the darkness.
No, to stop the magic. To stop the magic.
Stop the magic. Mitchell vs. the Machines is like, that one's a little bit weirder to describe, but basically it's like, oh, we're gonna take our daughter to college. Oh, there's a robot apocalypse. Oh no.
And then,
we have to stop
Luca fish boy.
Yeah, Luca is just like the fish element of it all does play into like the story, but it's really just a movie about three friends hanging out in Italy for like almost 2 hours. Like the whole movie is just like the I guess the main conflict is that Luca wants to like explore the world, but his parents basically believe that humans hate sea monsters, so they don't want him to like go out. But the other conflict is that him and his new friend that he meets named Alberto, want to win money to buy a Vespa and travel the world on a Vespa, and like that's it.
I don't know why, but this gives me like Wall-E vibes. Not in terms of plot or anything, but the sense of not to say Wall-E didn't have a plot, but it definitely like at first like viewing, you're just like, okay, where is this going?
We'll see.
And like, but I mean, obviously, it's Wall-E, but
yeah, I mean, it's interesting to me because it is very much like in a similar fashion to like Licorice Pizza or no, actually, Licorice Pizza is probably the best example. In a similar way of like Licorice Pizza, it's a vibe movie. Like you just kind of have to be like vibing with the movie. Like there is no like you're not really expected to be like, well, you're expected to be emotionally invested, but not in like the way that you'd be emotionally invested in The Incredibles. You know what I mean? Like it's very
like a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Kind of,
because
yeah.
I feel like that's a vibe movie. Like there's not really a plot.
Yeah.
It's really just a day in the life of.
Yeah, pretty much, because the whole movie is just like yes, you have those conflicts, but for the most part, it plays just like, oh, guess what? We're gonna go and fish today. Okay. We need to train to win the money to buy a Vespa. It's like
here's a better example. It's like if they had the same concept of like not early, but just like any like Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon TV shows where they're anthology shows where it's like, so they just draw it out into a movie. They're like, okay, let's put all these things like 15-minute episodes into a movie format.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's what it feels like. That's actually exactly it. And like
it's like they took the SpongeBob like Total Darkness episode and they mashed it with we lost Gary.
Low key, that's exactly what it is. Because, like, I mean, it's a good movie. I enjoyed it, but like, yeah, it just doesn't really have a plot, which is fine. But like, it's just not really a plot heavy movie like that. Now, on these other nominees, I know that there's some people who don't like Raya. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good.
I liked it.
Yeah, I a lot of people didn't like it because they felt like it was just like a ripoff of Avatar, which like
wait, what?
Because it's like the whole idea of like, well, there's a whole controversy involving that comparison because you kind of have to be very nuanced about it because some people take it as though because Avatar and Raya are both based in some form of lore involving different Asian cultures, by making that comparison, you're only comparing them because they both have those like those roots.
Asian influences.
Yeah, but I think it's just like it's more surfacey than that. I think the surfacey comparison is more just like it's about like, oh, we need to go on this journey to find this thing that will help us save the world because of the division amongst the groups. So like in Avatar, it's the Avatar himself. Like you need to go and find you have the Avatar, and the Avatar will help to get the different nations to come together or whatever. And then in Raya, it's the dragon itself, Sisu. And once you get Sisu, then Sisu will help bring all the different like tribes together, like across like the whole nation or whatever. Like that's the comparison basically.
That's a huge stretch in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it, but it's not enough for me to be like, oh, this movie is like a ripoff, or oh, this movie isn't good. Like I actually did enjoy it. I
liked it a lot.
Yeah. But of this list, probably my favorite movie, Mitchell's. So Flea, I think Flea has a shot. I just don't think it's gonna win an animated because of the traditionally animated feature usually goes to like movies that are more like kid focused. There is like the closest exception I can think of is maybe Spirited Away, but even then that's still kid focused. So like it's very rare that they give it to something less traditional. In this case, Flea is technically a documentary. It's nominated in 3 categories. It's nominated for animated film, for international, and for documentary. and it's basically about a man who I'm not entirely sure what the story is, but I believe it's about a man who had to flee his country. I don't remember which country it is. I believe it's a country in the Middle East, and it's just kind of like an account of his life after those events and his family and things like that. But it's a documentary that was animated, and I believe I'm trying to remember what type of animation style it is, but it's animated over to add to like so that way they can like dramatize the events and things like that. Apparently it's really good. It's like fantastic. I haven't gotten a chance to see it yet. It's actually on Hulu, so maybe at some point I'll sit down and watch it. But that is another one that people have said is really good. I just haven't gotten around to it.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? Maybe we end up watching that soon. I don't know. All right. So moving on up to the next category, adapted screenplay. So I think we're pretty much lined up here. It seems like
we flipped, but yeah. Same movies.
Yeah. So for adapted screenplay, my first choice is Coda. I think that the movie. So watching the movie, I think that like for a Best Picture nominee, it's very slight. I was actually very surprised that it's nominated in the first place. If you don't know, I mean, of course you know what Coda is, but. Or I would assume if you're listening to this episode. But, I mean, just to describe it a little bit, it's basically Coda is about a young girl who is in high school and she really wants to sing, but she is a Coda, which means a child of deaf adults. Everyone in her family is deaf except for her, and she is kind of seen as being like like the family translator. So she is always expected to be there for her family to help them do whatever. They also have like a fishing business. So she helps out with the business, and by her being like the only hearing person there, she really does act as like without her in a lot of ways, they really like rely on her to do whatever it is they need to do in their daily lives or whatever. It's a cute film. It's just like a family film about like this family and what they go through. And I think the movie is the most interesting when it kind of gets into like, okay, what are like the nuances of being a Coda? Like I remember one detail in the movie that I thought was really interesting was there's a part where the main character, whose name is slipping my mind, she explains that she was made fun of because she always had like a weird speech impediment or speech pattern, and that was because she's a child of deaf adults. So like, of course, she doesn't really have like the constant awareness of like the way in which we like would say words in the same way that other people would if they have like hearing parents who are not mute. You know what I mean?
Interesting. And I mean, not to discredit the movie, but I also have a friend who is a Coda, and he actually is he's in a family of 4. So all 4 kids can actually hear. But I never noticed this like any like in like different like tonal inflections, or like is it like noticeable or like oh, so for her it's noticeable?
Well, this was when she was a kid. Like she obviously learned how to get out of it, but she was explaining that like, but the thing about it is that like I don't know about your friend. I'm assuming since you had siblings, I don't know what the age difference between his siblings are.
It's so oh my goodness, I'm gonna do quick maths. So he's 24 and he's 16 or 17. So roughly him and his, so there's 4 kids. So the oldest one, I think he's like 2 years older than my friend. And the next one below him is like 4 years younger, and then the youngest is like, I want to say 7 or 8.
Okay.
It's between 6 or 8 years younger than my friend. So, you know, pretty good gap.
Yeah, I think I was going to say, like, maybe there's potential that could be a sibling thing, maybe. But, like, in her case, literally her entire family's deaf. She's the only one that can hear. Yeah, but I don't know. But it is interesting, like, when they kind of talk about little things like that, or, like, just what it's like living in a house with, where your entire family's deaf, and it's like, ironically enough, it's loud. At least the way it's portrayed in the movie, it's loud. Where, like, they slam things down the table. Or,
because they aren't aware of the noises they're making, yeah.
Yeah, and it's things like that that I think was like really interesting. But like the movie itself, I mean, plot wise, is very predictable. It doesn't really do anything that special, but like I can see that like Academy members will be like, "Oh my god, this movie like it was so I got teary eyed because the movie ends with a not a musical sequence, but the movie it doesn't end on it, but like basically the whole thing is that the daughter wants to go to like a music school, like a Juilliard type of situation, and she auditions, and the movie's like big climax is her singing with her family in the audience, and then she starts signing what she's saying, and her family's like all into it, and people are like, "Oh my god!" And then on top of that, and this goes into Troy Kotsur and supporting actor, which we'll talk about later. There's a scene where he, obviously, since they can't hear her sing, he wants to like hear her sing, so he like basically holds on to like her like throat to try and like feel like what she's saying, and it's like a very like emotional moment, and like they're both about to cry, and it's like okay, so this is a very emotional movie for a lot of people.
Out of context, this just sounds very.
It sounds
bad.
weird
It's
out of
just
context, but like
just like, here, let me hold your throat real quick so I can hear you sing. It's like, it's like, yeah, it's like,
yeah,
I can't breathe.
it sounds weird out of context, but like in the movie it works, and like the movie is good. I don't want to say it's not a bad movie. It's just like it's not really the type of movie that I would have expected Oscar to even pay attention to. But yeah, no, I think that like I'm glad it got a nomination. And I think that like the reason why it's my first pick is because people like it so much. Also, this is something that like that I'll also bring up is that like Coda is a Best Picture nominee. We'll get into the Best Picture nominees later, but generally speaking, the Academy loves to spread the wealth across the Best Picture nominees. So I don't think at least in recent years, I feel like you don't usually see like one movie sweeping every award in the same way that like let's say Titanic did or something like that. Like every movie basically gets something. And so I feel like this might be Coda's something. So we'll see. And then do you want to talk about Power of the Dog and Adapted?
What can you say? They did. I mean, yeah. I'm not familiar with the original, like, source material. I don't know. Was it a book or was it a play?
It was a book. Yeah, I didn't know what it was either. I think it came out in like maybe the I don't know when it came out. It came out in the anywhere between this is a wide range. Anywhere between the 50s and the 80s. I don't know when though.
That is a very wide range.
It is a very wide range. I have no idea.
In terms of the actual plot and whatnot, like, yeah, it makes you feel like it's Brokeback Mountain between an underage kid, or I guess I don't know if he's of age. What?
I wouldn't go that far.
I don't know. Like the vibes were very sexually frustrated. Let me tell you. Like the way Benedict Cumberbatch was like eyeing up this kid made it feel like okay. He was like this. I don't know. It gave very like sexually frustrated vibes.
See, to me, the movie felt like it didn't feel like sexual frustration. It just felt like tense. Like you don't know what these interactions are.
It was tense, all right.
But I wouldn't say that it felt like sexual tension. Like that would be like if in Brokeback every other scene. No, because that'd be like if in Brokeback every time that Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal were together, you'd literally constantly feel like they could either kiss or stab each other, and you don't know which.
But like I felt like it was this whole time. Like maybe you can even ask our friends. After this, but the whole time, like I was on edge because I was like, "Are they gonna kiss?" Like that's how it felt. I never felt like, and even at the end, we're at the twist because okay, spoilers. When Benedict Cumberbatch's character dies, I never like got the vibe that it was like, you know, the kid who was involved with it, and that's where the whole like plot comes together in my mind, where it's like the Power of the Dog, where it's like. You know, it's the like what's the like the misdirect or the redirect, whatever you want to say, where it's like someone who appears as this fragile, like maybe more dainty person can actually is the one who actually defends themselves in the honor of their mother and whatnot, as opposed to this person who's all machismo and whatnot. And it's just like, yeah, fuck everybody and I'll kill them, and then ends up being the one who secretly has a past of being what people back in the 1920s would consider as weak. So I mean that's the screenplay, that's the story of Power of the Dog, and it was a good payoff in terms of the story, like, or maybe not the story, but like the I don't know, like what the message they're trying to get at. I
Yeah.
think there's a payoff there. I think where it falls flat for me is that it just kind of like it happens, and then we're just like, whoa. I was hoping for like a happy ending, but
Oh.
I mean, not every movie's gonna have a happy ending. So I mean, still
Well, I mean,
great. I think
technically,
it's,
you could argue that it was a happy ending.
I mean, for the kid and Kirsten Dunst, sure. But I didn't really care for Kirsten Dunst's character, so
I liked her character well enough. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But like, I liked her character well enough.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that like Power of the Dog, again, has a lot of power. But
Power bottom.
I think that's the one thing that could go against it. Oh my god. Sorry, I did not process that fast enough. I'm so sorry. But no, Power of the Dog, I think the thing about it that may go against it in adapted screenplay, and this could also go into editing as well, like one of the reasons why I didn't pick it for editing and I forgot to bring it up, is that some people think the movie is really slow. And I personally think it moves pretty well. I think it's pretty well paced.
I
But
thought so too. In comparison to the other, well, we'll talk about it when we get there.
yeah, but I think that the thing about this movie is that I think the reason why people think it's on the slower side is because it's
The build up, like the tense moments,
yeah, it's a lot of like build
like,
up to
it's like suspense. Like,
yeah,
trying to,
but the movie's not interested in being like this flashy, like over the top melodramatic thing. Like yes, you'll get scenes where Benedict Cumberbatch is like screaming, but like that's not what the movie is. And then on top of that, I think it's also because the movie's a Western. It is a Western, but it's a very different kind of Western. So I think people are going in expecting like a True Grit maybe, but that's not what this is. You know what I mean? And then as for the other nominees, I mean, I could see any of them taking it, but like I don't know. I feel like those two have like the most power. So like in the case of The Lost Daughter, so I watched The Lost Daughter. It's on Netflix. I thought it was okay, and then I realized I don't think I like it.
you're just like, you know what? I sat with it. I'm not okay with this.
Well, because the whole movie, so the basic plot
Keep
of
that girl lost.
high key. No, the whole plot of The Lost Daughter is basically it's about Olivia Colman, and she's on vacation, in like Italy, somewhere in Italy, if I remember correctly, or no, Greece. I don't know, but basically
Mediterranean.
somewhere in the Mediterranean. Yeah, she's like on vacation. It's like almost like a resort, but like a little town. She goes on vacation by herself, and then she doesn't really do much. She just kind of like is like roaming around, doing whatever. One day she's laying on the beach, and then she ends up seeing this family. Dakota Johnson has a young daughter, and she ends up meeting them. And at one point, the daughter goes missing, but then Olivia Colman finds her pretty immediately. I thought the movie was going to be like a thriller where like there is an actual lost daughter. There isn't. And so we learn about like Olivia Colman's past, involving like how she is like she made a bunch of questionable choices as a mother. The younger version of herself is played by Jessie Buckley, who's also nominated supporting actress. The movie, I feel like ultimately, I think it's an interesting experiment. I think that like it had really interesting things to explore, because it is ultimately about like, basically the best way I could sum it up is how it's about how hard it is to be a mother, like, and how just basically the movie makes you not want to have kids, period. The movie makes you go, is it worth it? Is it really worth it? I don't think it's worth it. That's like the whole movie. And like, and I think the thing about it that I just came to not like is that the movie ultimately, by the end of it, doesn't really have the conclusion of the movie. I didn't really know what exactly it was trying to say. And maybe that's a me problem, but like I just had no idea what the movie was trying to say. Like,
Don't have kids.
well, like literally, it's like you find out about all these things that Olivia Colman did. Spoiler alert! If you don't want to be spoiled on Lost Daughter, but quickly, spoiler alert. We just learned that there was a period of time where Olivia Colman literally left her family, just like dipped out, and then had an affair, and then came back, I believe 4 years later or something like that, more or less. And she feels guilt for leaving. So I was thinking like, okay, so she has like these two grown daughters, right, who are strange. Like they don't like her because she dipped out for those 4 years, and they have a lot of like pent up like anger towards her or something. But the movie ends with her like lying on the beach, and she gets a phone call from her daughters, and her daughters are like, "Oh yeah, hey mom, blah blah." And I'm just like, and the movie ends, and I'm just like, wait, so then what was the point? I'm confused.
See, I told you didn't like Olivia Colman.
Well, no, I love Olivia Colman, and she's great in the movie, which we'll talk about. She's great in the movie, but the movie itself, I just didn't vibe with it. However, the movie did receive some like screenplay prizes, so I mean, it has potential, but like I just don't. Dune, I think, is more of a technical achievement than a writing achievement. At least I think that's how the Academy looks at it. I think it's a really
that again.
Well, I think it's a really impressive achievement considering that like we've seen multiple previous adaptations of Dune. They all came out bad, and Dune is such a popular novel that like I can definitely see them giving some sort of consideration to it. But I think the thing about Dune that makes me hesitant to think it would win in any of the major categories is because we have Part 2 on the way. And I think Part 2 will be the movie that makes them go, we're going to give it all these prizes. Because like I think that's probably what's going to end up happening, because it's going to be like a Lord of the Rings type of thing, where like Lord of the Rings really like it wins some technical awards here and there, but it doesn't really win like the big prizes until its final film. I think they might do that type of thing, but we'll see. And then the last adapted screenplay nomination is Drive My Car, which I have not seen it, but it's a 3-hour movie about a widower forming a bond with his driver. I just haven't gotten around to it. It's probably fantastic. It's nominated international. It's the front runner for international feature. I haven't gotten around to it because I will say 3 hours is a very daunting task. But I will try.
Yes, we know how you feel about 3-hour movies.
It will be. I mean, there are some 3-hour movies that I love, but there are some 3-hour movies where I just go, why is it 3 hours?
Fair.
So Drive My Car, we'll see. It's actually going to be on HBO Max, I think either this week when we're recording or next week. So I'll probably end up catching it once it's on HBO Max.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so next, original screenplay. The nominees here are Belfast, Don't Look Up, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, and The Worst Person in the World. I will say right off the top about Worst Person in the World, I really love that movie. I saw it in theaters a few days ago, and I really, really, really enjoyed it. And I'm really excited to get a chance to show you guys, Brandon, you, and a few other people, because like it is a really, really good movie. But I don't think it's going to win screenplay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't see it winning, but I do really love the movie a lot. I think that this is going to be Licorice Pizza's year. I think the thing about Licorice Pizza is that it is Paul Thomas Anderson. Everyone fucking loves him. I thought the movie was... the movie as a movie was fine. As a... How should I say this? I think the story that it was telling was kind of irresponsible, but that's a whole other thing. That's more of a me thing than it is... I don't know. There's just something about like the idea of a movie about a 25-year-old and a 15-year-old like falling for each other that I just found really uncomfortable and
love
weird.
Is love.
But the movie, and I think that like the movie, if the movie really like established that like was either ambiguous about their relationship or was really explicit about it, but didn't like but like was like this is a bad thing, and you have other characters around her going around, specifically Alana Haim's character being like, this is not good, this is gross, stop. Then that'd be one thing. But the movie never really does that. It doesn't want to judge the characters, which is fine. Like you can not judge your characters, but don't have me sit here and then you like play this upbeat music when they kiss, and then be like, oh my god, they're in love. And I get it's supposed to be ironic, but like, come on now.
I get it. I get that.
But everyone loves Paul Thomas Anderson. He has not won an Oscar yet, so I think this may be his year. Again, Licorice Pizza is the Best Picture nominee, so this might be the thing they give it. My second choice is Belfast, because even though we haven't really talked much about Belfast winning really any of the categories, at least the ones we've gone through, Belfast is considered to be like the second place film. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think the thing about Belfast is that it's such a crowd pleaser that like if they did give it to it, and also Kenneth Branagh, who, if I'm not mistaken, doesn't have an Oscar but has been nominated multiple times as well. Like I don't know.
Yeah, and my top choice is Don't Look Up. Again, like I said before, biased towards the movie. I thought it was great. It was just very moving in the sense that it just told so many different, like... it didn't tell us different stories. It hit on so many applicable things that are happening in the real world. And this movie was made in 2019?
I think they started writing it in 2019, and then it was
Yeah.
filmed in the pandemic.
Yeah, so but the fact that it was just so applicable to like everything happening in our world during the pandemic, and like they didn't have the foresight knowing that like, oh, there's gonna be a pandemic coming around. So just to be like, oh yeah, there's gonna be people who believe and don't believe the thing that's happening, like this comet coming to crash towards Earth, which is so applicable today, where it's like, oh, is COVID real or not? It's like, and then just like with the takes on political leaders and capitalism and everything, and like this movie is originally just supposed to be about global warming and or just like I should say environmental things related that way, and then it hit on so many things that I thought were, I don't know, I thought it was done very tastefully, especially for, I wasn't expecting it to be like as funny as it was, so I thought the writing there was also great too, being able to do that, and then all the characters too. With Leonardo DiCaprio, I mean, I'm actually surprised he's not nominated for like best or supporting, because I thought he played, I forget the scientist's name now, but like the anxiety and just like this such like feeble man, like and the way that he transitions throughout the story, in writing the characters there, and also tackling another thing, the way that Adam McKay also tackled the issues of or conveying like how they would rather listen to a white man, even though he didn't discover the comet. It was Jennifer Lawrence's character who discovered it, so they won't listen to a woman. And then I forget the other character's name. He was a black man,
Dr. Oglethorpe.
Yeah, Dr. Oglethorpe's his character, how they won't listen to him either because he's a black man.
Yeah.
And so like, and the fact that he even mentioned, I don't know, there's just so many different things where I'm just like, nice touches here and there. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel the same way. I mean, I think that like Don't Look Up, again, it's super divisive, but I do actually really like the writing. I will admit there are some points in the movie that like that the writing isn't like the strongest. Like there are some jokes that I don't think land and stuff like that. But I mean, for the most part though, I was really into it. I thought it was really well done. I thought that like just the way that they decided to pick the situation to me felt super realistic, which is unfortunate that's even something you'd say about a movie that's fucking ridiculous. As ridiculous as Don't Look Up.
Oh yeah.
that's fucking sad. But like I thought it was really well done, and I did also really enjoy it. So I think that's a solid pick.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going toward Licorice Pizza though.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if Don't Look Up, considering how well it performed, I think that like if Adam McKay does have an Oscar. He won for adapted screenplay for The Big Short. Had he not won that Oscar, then I probably would be thinking that he'll win for Don't Look Up. And I mean, who knows? But he could still win. But like I feel like that's not going to happen. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Who knows? There are surprises all the time, like last year, and I was pissed. Anyway.
Supporting.
Yep, supporting actress. So the nominees in supporting actress are Jessie Buckley for The Lost Daughter, Ariana DeBose, West Side Story, Judi Dench, Belfast, and Kirsten Dunst, The Power of the Dog. So, you want to go through your picks first?
Yeah. My top choice is Ariana DeBose for West Side Story. I think people are just suckers for musicals. I feel like I have a feeling it's not like a repeat of La La Land, but like I don't know. I just have a strong feeling in that regard. I mean, I've seen West Side Story, the one back in the day or whatever, with whatever their names are. But I've seen West Side. I know what West Side Story is about, so I don't think I really need to see this one to understand what's going to happen. But I'm going to give it to her. My second one is Kirsten Dunst, because who doesn't like a white lady in duress?
Oh my god. I mean, you're right.
I feel like the Academy just goes for it. They're just like, oh my god, she plays such a well victim. Like, I don't like...
I mean, you're right.
Yes, so, I mean, not that she did a bad job. Like, she definitely pulled off, stressed out white lady really well. But, I mean, I personally didn't think it was anything, like, to win over. I mean, I guess it's fine because she's supporting actress, so, like, sure, we can give her supporting.
Oh my god.
But yeah, she's fine. and then the other ones I haven't seen, so I can't really say. But on Aunjanue Ellis, right? Is that her? I feel like that's a good choice that you made.
Yeah, no, I think
I heard good things about King Richard.
Oh yeah, no. Well, King Richard's really good. I was actually surprised by how much I liked it because I don't typically like sports movies, but I was actually really into King Richard, which is shocking. But in supporting actress, I also am going Ariana DeBose. So you've seen the original West Side Story. So she plays Anita, which is Rita Moreno's character. Rita Moreno actually won her Oscar for that same role in the original film. And in the movie, literally, Ariana DeBose is like a what's what I'm looking for? She is like on fire. Like the movie, she's actually insanely good in the movie, which I was surprised because like I was expecting like her singing and dancing. I was expecting to be on point anyway because of course like she was best known for Hamilton. She was part of the original cast, so like I knew for a fact that was going to be something that was going to be on point. But you see her in this movie and just like the way that she like not just in the parts where like she has to like sing America, which is one of the best musical sequences of all time, but later on in the movie when she has to really hit like those emotional moments, she does it extremely well. And so I definitely think that like she's not only my pick for supporting actress, but I hope she wins supporting actress, which I think that she's a lock anyway. Now if she didn't win, I went with my second choice is more of a wish fulfillment than it is like logic. I chose Aunjanue Ellis for King Richard because I think Aunjanue Ellis is not just fantastic across the board as an actress, but fantastic in the movie. She plays Richard's wife, and her big Oscar moment is very clear in the movie. There's a scene where they have an argument in the kitchen, and she really does such a great job at just like being this. Like, she does a really good job at playing this character because I think that, like, it'd be very easy to play just, like, the wife. But I think that she really adds depth to it where, like, there are scenes where when Richard's paying more attention to one daughter over the other, she comes in and is like, oh, no, she's just as capable and she's just as willing to basically, like, train her daughters as much as Richard is. Like, she is basically his equal on that front. And so when Richard does things that's, like, questionable, she's really willing to call him out. And, like, I think that she does such a great job at playing that role. I also think Aunjanue Ellis is just an actress who really deserves any sort of recognition. She's been in a lot of shit. I just recently realized that she was in The Help.
Oh, no.
Which is not a good thing, but just the fact that, like, all of these fantastic black actresses were in The Help is, like, the hell? But anyway, so, like, I love Aunjanue Ellis, and I really do. If she won the Oscar, I'd be super happy. Now, Kirsten Dunst, I think, is probably the smarter choice. I think that part of Kirsten Dunst's whole narrative is that it's not just the movie itself, which I do think she's good in it. I think that, like, because she doesn't have as much screen time as other characters, or because the movie's not really about her, her character is very, like, not one note, but I think that, like, there is a lot that's on the page that isn't there on the page that she has to add to the character. But I also think it's an overdue thing because despite Kirsten Dunst's, like, 30 fucking year career, this is her first Oscar nomination ever. And so I think that, like, because of that may lend to her chances here. Because, like, there was a point where she was supposed to be nominated for Melancholia back in 2011. That didn't happen because the director was a fuck and said that he sympathized with Nazis.
Why does that affect her?
You be fucking surprised. So that happened. She's been in such great films from like yes, she wasn't gonna get a nomination for like Bring It On or whatever, but like she's fantastic in that. She's fantastic in things like Interview with a Vampire when she was a kid, but then also like Eternal Sunshine.
Spider-Man.
She gives a fantastic performance in that as well. So like she's always been consistently good in a lot of the stuff that she's in, and she for the most part always knew the assignment. So like the fact that this is her first nomination ever is really shocking because of how long her career has been going. So I think that really lends to her thing here, but also she could be like a Scarlett Johansson, where Scarlett Johansson got her first nominations back in 2019. She got 2 nominations and lost for both. So Kirsten Dunst doesn't have the strength of Ariana DeBose, but I can definitely see her. If she won, I would not be shocked, is basically my point. Judi Dench is there because she's Judi Dench. She doesn't really do much in Belfast. She has like the last moment, so that's probably why she's nominated, but she's fucking Judi Dench, so that's why. And Jessie Buckley, I like Jessie Buckley in The Lost Daughter. I might like her more than Olivia Colman, but again, I don't really care for that movie, so it's really hard for me to separate the movie from the performance. But I do think that her performance is good, so like if she won, I'd be a little upset, but I wouldn't be like rioting. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Okay, so moving on to supporting actor. So the nominees here are Kieran Hines for Belfast, Troy Kotzer for Coda, Jesse Plemons, The Power of the Dog, J.K. Simmons being the Ricardos, and Cody Smith-McPhee for The Power of the Dog. My pick is Cody Smith-McPhee.
Same.
Yeah. I think that Troy Kotzer really got a lot of momentum recently because of SAG. He won the SAG Award for Supporting Actor, which is a big deal because SAG does make up... Well, the screen actors make up a large portion of the Academy. But personally, I think the problem I have is that Power of the Dog, because of how strong the movie is, I can't see it walking away without a single acting win. And I think that this is the category that it has the best shot at winning. And so I'd be very surprised if they give it to Troy Kotzer instead. If they gave it to Troy Kotzer, then I would start to consider that maybe Coda wins Best Picture. But we'll talk about Best Picture later.
Damn.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Agree here. Not much to add.
Yeah. Kieran Hines is good in Belfast. He's fine. Jesse Plemons is really good in Power of the Dog. I think that his role is super small, so I'm very surprised they got this nomination in the first place.
Me too.
He doesn't really do that much in the movie. Like,
he
for a
even
large
leaves.
portion of the movie, he's gone. So like,
he's just what he comes back. He's like, "What happened?" He's like, "Fucking brother." That's what happened.
Yeah, he's like he pops in and out of the movie. But I guess like he really got the nomination for maybe the first like 45 minutes, maybe, because there's that scene on the mountain that I think is really well done where like he's like, "Oh, it's nice not to be alone." I think that he did a really good job there. But I ultimately am starting to believe that this nomination is really just because, well, for two reasons. One, they love Power of the Dog. And two, Jesse Plemons has kind of become like a mainstay in a lot of films. Like, he'll show up in random movies and always give a good performance. So I think that this is one of those scenes where it's like, okay, Jesse, we're going to recognize you here.
Do you think Kirsten Dunst is really pleaded? Just like, hey, he's going to feel really bad if you don't nominate him. Can
this is what's funny.
Give him a pity one.
I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they went on to interview Jesse Plemons. And Jesse was like I think he was filming. I think he was working on a set. He was filming something, and he was like, "Yeah, no, I mean, like, I knew about all the buzz and everything like that." And I was just like, "Okay, cool. Like, Kirsten's gonna get the nomination. That's great. Just like get her the nomination, get through award season. It's gonna be great." And then she called me like elated and told me that I got nominated. I was like, "Oh, all right."
Even he was like, I didn't do that much. He's like, I was there for a day of shooting at most.
Yeah, it's really funny to me that like he got that nomination, but I mean, like, he's good. It's not a bad nomination in my opinion.
I know, yeah.
But like, still, J.K. Simmons for being the Ricardos. I don't like being the Ricardos, and I don't like his performance. So,
oop, can't.
Yeah, I think that like he's fine, but basically he's just playing like 1940s. J. Jonah Jameson, and I'm just like, I don't.
I want pictures of the Ricardos.
Yeah, like it's just him. A lot of times he's like I'm drunk, and I'm just like I don't care.
Oh, so it's the other one.
What?
Yeah, the he's a conductor movie.
Oh no, it's not Whiplash. Well, no, but Whiplash is a strong performance because that character is so unlikable, but he manages to make him compelling. In this movie, he's just
unlikable.
He's just there, and he has one scene where he takes what's her name, Nicole Kidman to a bar, or Lucy to a bar, and like that's it. And I'm just like I don't. So when he got that, and this is basically the case with Being the Ricardos outside Nicole Kidman. Every time they said Being the Ricardos, I was like, what the actual fuck are you talking about? But we'll get there. So that's supporting actor. I do think it's Cody Smith-McPhee, though. It's going to be him. At least I think. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so actress. So for actress, we have the same picks, but we're reversed, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So my pick for Best Actress is Jessica Chastain as Tammy Faye. I think that it is a very typical Oscar-y type of performance. It's very big. It's very out there. But I think the thing about it is that the character that she's playing is very big and very out there. Like, if you know anything about Tammy Faye,
nope.
She seems like such a nice lady, but she scares the fuck out of me. I'm not gonna lie. She has like all that heavy makeup, and she's very like loud and very just like, she's just a very big character. And so like, I think the fact that Jessica Chastain managed to pull it off is really impressive. And I think that like, that this performance could very easily come off as bad. but I think that Jessica Chastain really understands the character in a way that it doesn't come off that way. And I genuinely did feel for Tammy Faye as a person, and I think that Jessica Chastain did an amazing job. And she is my favorite performance of this nominations list, or nominees. I know some people feel iffy about her performance because it's so big. Like, some people would lean more towards a subtle performance, but I love the performance. I think it's a fantastic performance.
Yeah. And my runner-up is Nicole Kidman for being the Ricardos. Just cause. I haven't seen any of these movies.
Oh, really? Okay.
I haven't seen any of them, and I just know people like Nicole Kidman. She's been around for a while, so I'm just like, you know what? I feel like they give her an award.
So
I mean, my other one would have been, I guess, like one I could see is Kristen Stewart, but I guess she hasn't been. She was okay in Spencer, so.
Yeah, I think that the thing about it is that Kristen Stewart has a lot of love behind her. Like, people love her performance, but it hasn't been represented in the award circuit. So I didn't pick Kristen Stewart because I haven't seen anything to push me towards thinking that she'll win outside of that love from other like random people saying that it's great. If she won like an acting award with someone, then maybe I would be feeling different. Like, if she managed to win like Critics' Choice, for example, which I don't even know if she's nominated Critics' Choice, but if she did manage to win like a Critics' Choice or something like that, or like the Golden Globe or something, then I'd be like, okay, Kristen Stewart does still have a chance. But because she hasn't won anywhere, I'm hesitant to say that will happen. Nicole Kidman is also my second. I say that begrudgingly because I don't want her to win. Honestly, in my opinion, of this list, and I haven't seen Parallel Mothers. We haven't seen Parallel Mothers, as we said before, but of this list, I think Nicole Kidman's performance is the worst one. I think that she literally isn't doing anything. She's literally just playing. She's playing Lucy, but she's just Nicole Kidman. She's not doing anything to transform herself into the character. Her character, honestly, and this is a problem with the writing more so than her character, she's a bitch. I don't like her. Because of the way that she treats another character in the movie, who I think is giving the best performance in the movie, Nina Arianda's character, who plays Vivian Vance, if I remember correctly. And her character, there's a whole subplot where she's trying to lose weight, but then literally Lucy, aka Nicole Kidman, says to her like, "Oh, people, like, American audience wants to see themselves on screen, and you look like normal people. They don't look like me." And I'm just like, bitch, what do you mean? So she's ugly? You're saying that she's ugly? And she should stay ugly because you're the pretty one? Fuck you. I didn't like that. I don't know. It came off, it rubbed me the wrong way. I did not like that line at all. And I was like, am I supposed to like her? But that's a writing thing. That's not the performance. I think her performance is fine, but I just think that Nicole Kidman, I think, can do so much better. I do like Nicole Kidman. I think that she's a really good actress. But like, this being the movie that could potentially give her second Oscar is very disappointing, and I don't want to see that. But she is my second choice because I think that based on the award circuit, she has the second best chance of winning. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
All right. Want to move on to actor?
Actor. Oh, we didn't talk about Olivia Colman. Well, I already talked about the movie, so I mean,
we don't need to talk about her.
Yeah, I love Olivia Colman. I think she's a fantastic actress. She was good in the movie, but the movie isn't good, so that's my thing. Okay, best actor. Oh boy, this one. Okay, so best actor, I think my pick is still Will Smith. I think that Will Smith has won at every major awards body. He just recently won the SAG, and I think it's pretty much locked up unless Benedict Cumberbatch wins the BAFTA. If Benedict Cumberbatch wins the BAFTA, then he has the potential to upset. He is my second choice, but I'm very much in the Will Smith basket.
No, I get that. I totally would have put him down as my choice, but having not seen King Richard, I can't say anything for 100% certainty. But knowing that he has a history already with the other award circuits going around and Will Smith winning, then I get that. I put Benedict Cumberbatch down just because I feel like he's never won. Oh wait, no, did he win Best Actor for Enigma Code? Oh god, what's that movie called? The Imitation Game. He didn't win. He was nominated though. Okay, so maybe I could see like a legacy thing, not legacy, but maybe something like that where they're like, okay, you're good in this. But my hopeful wishing would be Andrew Garfield. I thought he did a great job embodying the character, well, not character, the real person, but I guess in this case, character Jonathan Larson. not only like taking up singing lessons and really doing that, but I don't know, he just like if you watch other like things of the real John Larson, like in his like he does a lot of good like not imitation, but he took up a lot of key notes about how to do like the mannerisms of John Larson, and I thought that was pretty admirable. And I just think he does an overall wonderful performance in this character who's so consumed by his work and passion for trying to get something out into the world of playwrights and whatnot to make a name for himself. So that's why he did a great job.
Yeah, I definitely think the same thing about Andrew Garfield's performance. The movie I thought was okay. I didn't love it, but I do think that he gives a fantastic performance. And I think that, in my mind, it's still kind of a three-way race. I still think Will Smith is like the strongest, but I mean, like all of them have different things going for them. I think in Will Smith's case, like he has that legacy thing going on. Like this will be his first Oscar. He's been in the industry for such a long time, like overdue.
Will Smith hasn't won one? I thought he won one for like or did Ali not win him?
No, this is his third nomination. He was nominated for Ali, and then he was nominated for Pursuit of Happiness. He lost both times. I think Ali, he lost to Denzel Washington for Training Day. And then for Pursuit of Happiness, he lost to Forrest Whitaker.
Imagine if Denzel Washington comes out of nowhere in The Tragedy of Macbeth and be like, that's my Oscar again.
I mean, honestly,
Denzel Will Smith just looks at him?
I mean, you know, the Academy loves Denzel. Denzel is great. I fucking love Denzel. So, like, I mean, go ahead. If that happened, like, I'd be like,
did you know he's like almost
like, okay.
70?
I'm sorry?
Did you know he's almost like 70?
Yes, I did.
Isn't that crazy?
It's really weird. It's actually very strange, but like, yeah, it's really strange to think about. But I mean, what are you gonna do? I don't know. People are getting old. It's wild. It's scary.
Just like in the song 3090.
Oh my god, stop. But yeah, my least favorite performance here is Javier Bardem. I thought he was fine. I don't think he's bad necessarily, but like I don't know. And then on top of that, there was a whole controversy because he's Spanish and he's playing Cuban, and it's like, why?
I don't see I mean, it sounds like people just want to be upset about something.
I think it just comes down to the fact that like there are things about
I understand representation and all, but it's like
I think the thing that I think that angered people a little bit was that, and I saw this on Twitter, so I don't know how much the spread. And I can't quote him for sure because it was a video of him talking about representation, but he was in Spanish, so like I can't say what exactly he said because there was no subtitles, and I don't speak Spanish like that, so like I can't translate. But based on what people were saying in like the comments and stuff like that, it sounded like he was saying that essentially he as a Spaniard is a minority, and therefore like he really wants to see more Spanish representation in film. But it's really weird to me because he's Spanish and he's playing other cultures. Do you know what I mean? Like he's Spanish, talking about how he wants to see more Spanish representation, but then he plays Cuban. You see what I mean? It's like things like that rub people the wrong way. And it's similar with like Penelope Cruz had a similar thing where people were questioning the fact that like she is also Spanish, but then she's in that movie The 355 with Jessica Chastain and Lupita Nyong'o and all them, but she's playing Colombian. So it's like it's weird. I don't know. So that kind of rubbed people the wrong way. And I think that like I just wish they would cast somebody different. I think Javier Bardem was just like an easy choice, I guess. And I like Javier Bardem, but like you could try a little harder. I mean, not gonna lie.
I think they just want like big names, and they want people that can actually speak Spanish.
I mean,
they just want to go with the easy choice.
But the movie was written by Aaron Sorkin. Everyone knows who he is. At least in film, everyone knows who Aaron Sorkin is. And it's like come on now.
I don't know who Aaron Sorkin is.
He wrote The Social Network, won his Oscar for The Social Network, and wrote like a whole bunch of other shit.
So he thinks he's all high and mighty.
Low key. Because you know that movie, have you ever seen A Few Good Men?
I heard about it. I haven't seen it.
You know, like the quote, like, I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Oh, wait, I have seen it.
That's A Few Good Men. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's Aaron Sorkin. He wrote that. He also wrote West Wing and stuff like that, yeah.
I can see where his writing style is coming into play now.
Yeah, exactly. I just can't. I like Aaron Sorkin for the most part. Like there are movies of his that like people don't like that I do like. But, Nina Ricardo's wasn't. Okay, so director. So for best director we have Kenneth Branagh for Belfast, Drive My Car, Ryosuke Hamaguchi, Licorice Pizza, Paul Thomas Anderson, Power of the Dog, Jane Campion, and West Side Story, Steven Spielberg. I think that this is Campion's to lose.
To lose?
Like, I mean, like, she's a lock. Like, I think that she's going to win it.
Oh, okay.
Like, I can't see it going to anybody else, personally. I think that Power of the Dog, again, is super strong here. 12 nominations. I think that she's definitely going to get the win. I think the other part of it is that, and this is not, like, me shading it or anything like that, but there is a historical element to it where if Jane Campion wins, she will be the third female director to win Best Director. She had previously been nominated back in the 90s for what's that movie called? The Piano. She did not win, but she won screenplay, I believe, that year. So like this will be like her chance to make her mark in that sense. The previous two winners are Chloe Zhao for Nomadland and Catherine Bigelow for The Hurt Locker. So there is like that major momentous element of like we're finally getting female directors being recognized here, which is great. Now, if I could see an upset, maybe Steven Spielberg, but he's been kind of weak throughout the season. But I only see that mainly because this is more of like a wish fulfillment thing. West Side Story, I think, is so well put together. It's so well composed. It's so well it is easily one of like Spielberg's best movie in so long. And like if he won Best Director, I think that would be like definitely 100% deserved. Now, had he been here, I would be predicting Denis Villeneuve for Dune, but they didn't put him here, so I don't know what to do with that.
I mean, I don't think he had the best direction.
Fuck you. Anyway.
I don't even know what I was watching, Daryl. What did he put together? I saw nothing.
Oh my god, I can't do it right now. I'll get triggered. Anyway. But yeah, we were pretty lined up on that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, like, Drive My Car, I think, has the international part of it all. Again, the movie's really beloved, so that might be, like, kind of like a fan favorite type of situation. I don't think it will win, but I think it's great that Ryosuke Hamaguchi is here. I think Belfast has a shot, but I don't think they'll give Kenneth Branagh a director. Honestly, I thought the movie was actually pretty... I thought the direction was a little weak, personally. There were, like, technical things about the movie that I thought were just, like, and, like, inconsistent. And then Licorice Pizza, Paul Thomas Anderson. He has that narrative of, like, he's overdue, he's never won, but I just don't think that that's going to happen because Licorice Pizza also, like, missed some major awards. And that's the other thing. There are some, like, nominations that you can see that help you predict, like, what's going to win Best Picture, which we'll get to. And, like, I think it's, like, things like West Side Story missing, like, editing that, like, makes people go, like, okay, well, West Side Story might not win because it's rare that a movie that misses an editing nomination wins Best Picture. It's, like, things like that. So, yeah. But I haven't really been keeping track of that, so I'm not really going to hold it to that with my predictions right now. All right. Any thoughts on director?
I mean, nothing to add to what you were saying. I mean, I pretty much agree. We had the same picks. I think Power of the Dogs is pretty much a lock-in at this point. And again, I haven't seen the other movies. I mean, I would think Steven's... Yeah. We nothing that we haven't already said.
Yeah.
don't want to rehash it.
Okay. All right.
Other than Dune should not have been nominated.
Oh my god. It should have. Fuck you. Anyway. So Best Picture. So I think my picks here are Power of the Dog and Belfast. Power of the Dog I think is the definite front runner. I think it's definitely going to win. But I also put in Belfast because it's that crowd pleaser. I could be completely off with that because I think that Belfast has lost a lot of momentum going into this awards. But I think that if the movie does manage to get screenplay, and if there was another award that I was thinking that could win, but if it gets screenplay, I think it still has potential to get to Best Picture. Power of the Dog, though, I think it's just going to take it. I can't really see it going to anything else other than Power of the Dog right now, but you never know. What are your thoughts?
Just because I heard so much hype about it, Licorice Pizza is like my second choice. I don't know. I think people are just raving about it for whatever reason. Again, I haven't seen it, so I don't know why. I can't put anything into it. And West Side Story, like you said, basically being one of Steven Spielberg's best works in a long time. I think it could be like another instance of La La Land where people just love musicals for whatever reason, and they're just like, oh my god, it's so great and magical, and we just want to give it to it. So I can see that happening, but Definitely the only two I want to see win would be Power of the Dog and Don't Look Up.
Yeah, I think that like I think all of our picks make sense. I think that like if I was to say two other movies that could potentially take it, it would be Don't Look Up and Coda. I also think that Dune still has a shot, mainly because I think that we haven't seen. And hear me out. I think the thing about Dune is that it's been performing exactly as expected across all accounts. I think losing that Best Director nomination is a major hit. But like I think the fact that it still got that screenplay nomination, it still got into editing. Like I think the fact that it got those nominations still gives it some of that momentum. With that being said, I don't think they'll give it to Dune because again, I think they'll just funnel all of that love to Dune Part 2.
Yeah, we'll see when that happens, and maybe I'll come around too when I see the second part of Dune. But you know, I agree with that. With these picks, I'm actually surprised Nightmare Alley is nominated.
Yeah, I think it's just because so this year was the first year since I want to say 2010, 2011 that they committed to a 10 Best Picture year. So
this is a lot of pictures. Like it's usually like 5 or 8.
Yeah, so it used to be 5, and then after, so it was 10 way back when, and then they switched to 5, and it was 5 for a long time up until 2008. And the reason why they changed it is because back in 2008, a certain movie didn't get nominated, a certain movie that made a shit ton of money that everyone loved across the board. Do you know what movie that was?
2008. Where was I?
This was a big ass movie. We still talk about it to this day.
Big movie. Have I mentioned this movie?
I did bring it up in a conversation we had about another movie that's coming out this week.
The Dark Knight.
Yes. So The Dark Knight didn't get a Best Picture nomination, and people were pissed. So the Academy decided to expand the Best Picture lineup to 10 in 2009, for like the 2009-2010 Oscar year, and then basically they kept up that 10 up until I believe 2011. And then I think either 2012 or 2013, they switched it so it was a potential of 10. So they would usually end up only having like 8 nominees or something like that, like 7 to 8 nominees. And it got to the point where the movies that were getting nominated were typically so slight for the most part that they felt as though their ratings were slipping and things like that. And on top of that, people felt like there were certain movies that weren't getting recognized by the Academy. A lot of those movies being movies about people of color, but that's a whole other discussion. And so they decided to expand the category from that like potential to being an exact 10. So this year, I think they were just basically looking for a movie to fill that 10th slot, and I do think that Nightmare Alley was that 10th.
Oh man, that's kind of sad.
Yeah,
we need one more movie. I mean, what can we do?
No shade to Guillermo, but I do think that Nightmare Alley is divisive in the sense that like some people really like it and some people think that it's extremely slow and boring. And so like I think that it because of how divisive it is, and the fact that it's not divisive in like a loud way like Don't Look Up, where like everyone watched Don't Look Up and everyone was like, oh my god, either in a good way or a bad way. With Nightmare Alley, it came out, didn't make any money, no one saw it, then it dropped on HBO Max, and now people are like, Nightmare Alley's pretty good actually. Who would have thought?
Yeah, I thought it was decent at best.
Oh, but damn.
I mean, like it's. I mean, you even said it yourself. Your first watch through, you weren't that impressed in theaters.
Yeah, no, I think that. Yeah. I think that once you actually get into the plot, I think that's where I like really like the movie. But everything in the beginning was just like so. It was slow. It was just like we could speed this up, and I do miss like when it comes to Guillermo del Toro, I love the fantastical elements, so I did miss that with the movie.
Yeah, I was really expecting like just like the baby to come back in some way.
Yeah.
To be like, just like comes out of the tube and starts walking around.
Yeah, like it's rare to I just not rare, it never happens, but like every Guillermo del Toro movie has some sort of fantastical element. And like even like something like Pan's Labyrinth, where like you can make the argument that the fantastical elements aren't even really happening. Like there's always that fantastical element to it. So to watch a movie from Guillermo that doesn't have that, it's not bad, but it's just not as like when he's taking his time, it's just not as engaging, I don't think. But I mean,
but this also wasn't. It's an adapted screenplay.
Yeah, this wasn't an original screenplay. But I mean, I think
so I think that probably
is all this stuff original. Oh, maybe
I feel like
Huh.
I
Okay.
mean, besides Hellboy,
Besides Hellboy, yeah,
I'm pretty sure
most of his
like
stuff is like original.
I'm pretty sure Shape of Water is original.
Yeah, Shape of Water's original.
Pan's Labyrinth.
Pan's Labyrinth is original. His early stuff, I think, The Devil's Backbone and Kronos, I think those are all original. He did Blade 2.
Okay, so that wasn't original.
That wasn't original. Mimic,
but it had
I think,
but
was
it had
original.
that element. But it had that element of the whimsical, fantastical.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, yeah, no, Guillermo del Toro is a fantastic filmmaker, but I just don't really think that, like, I like Nightmare Alley, but it's not my favorite of his. Like, I think that it's the one I'd probably revisit the least.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Drive My Car, again, it's a Lochner National Feature just by being in Best Picture, but, like, 3 hours. I have to find the time. And Coda. I think Coda won SAG. It won the Ensemble Award at SAG. So it has potential there. Another movie that won Best Picture that won at SAG was Parasite. But I don't feel that level of love for Coda that I did with Parasite. Well, like, literally everyone was like, Parasite is fantastic. Like, Parasite is amazing. Coda, I feel like it's more muted. But I don't know. That could be for a plethora of reasons.
I see what you did there.
No pun intended. I feel bad now.
I see what you did there.
All right. So to wrap it up, since we went through all the different categories, and if there were any ones that you wanted to look at, we're going to actually put our picks up on Twitter, and also I have a letterbox so you can see like my various opinions on that. I'll actually be adding that to the link tree. So Brandon, were there any movies that weren't on that we haven't talked about that you think should have been recognized?
Not that I can think of. Like, there were so many movies that came out in 2021, like, surprisingly, that I've forgotten about. But none that are, I would say, Oscar-worthy.
Okay.
Or at least would be recognized by the Academy. They'd be like, you want this movie to be nominated? Be like, uh-huh. They'd be like, no.
So, if there was any movie from this past year that you would love to see a nomination for, what would that be? And in what category? I can think of a couple. That's why I'm curious.
Okay, you say yours, and I'll just see if I agree.
So,
because
I personally would have considered Rebecca Hall for Best Actress for The Night House.
Okay, I'm gonna start going through. I mean, I definitely thought The Night House was an interesting movie. I'm not sure if I would go as far as she did a good job. Okay, I'll say that. I think Malignant should be there in some way. I don't know. I don't know for what category though, because it's definitely not Best Picture. Maybe screenplay. Maybe
I would consider it for director. I think that James Wan did such a great job as a director on.
You know what?
Film.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, that was another one I was going to mention. Passing, which is actually like an Oscar-y type of movie. I am so sad it's not here.
I really wanted to see it.
It's really good. I really enjoyed it. I really wanted to see it get best supporting actress seemed like a lock up until the nominations came out, but I also really wanted to see it get a nomination for Tessa Thompson as well, and maybe even screenplay, but that did not happen. So it's unfortunate. Yeah, you already mentioned Malignant. Were there any others? And actually, I would also consider another director choice, but also cinematography for Candyman, the new Candyman. I think the cinematography in it was fantastic. I think that Nia DaCosta's direction was really on point. The screenplay was a little bit iffy at times, but the overall construction of the film I thought was really well done, and I would have loved to see it be recognized. But with all three of the movies with Night House, Malignant, and Candyman, it's just in general. More horror at the Oscars. Like, give us more horror movies at the Oscars, like, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, I know what I would nominate. Eternals for...
For what?
I know you're just looking at me.
Because I have feelings about Eternals that I...
I'd say, either... some type. It's just a technical award. Nothing like screenplay.
I was about to say, do not nominate that. That screenplay was ass. You know what? Don't nominate that.
You know what? There's problems with it, but I liked it. Either costume or score. I really like the score actually. Or editing. Put it for those.
I think that Eternals would probably only be visual effects for me.
Okay, I'll put visual effects.
I mean, I think that, well, of the Marvel movies that we got this year, I think that it easily had the best visual effects of them. I think Spider-Man's visual effects were iffy, and I think what is it called? Why am I forgetting names? Shang-Chi's. I think Shang-Chi looked fine up until the end with like the dragon and shit. I thought that was a little too much.
Yeah, it got a little, what's the word? I don't know. Like, I don't know if they just dropped in quality all of a sudden. They're like, oh man, we've spent all of our budget.
It just didn't come together in a way that I thought would be. Yeah, exactly. And I think that I think that Black Widow, like the CG.
Oh no, that was
CG was really bad in that movie. I like the fight choreography, but the CG was like. Ugh.
I think the movie overall was just awful. That was the weakest.
I liked the movie. Like, I think the movie is still fun, but like it's definitely like the more I think about it, the more I'm like, oh, this movie doesn't work really well.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't recommend it for anyone.
Florence Pugh is the only really good thing that comes out of that movie.
Okay,
yeah. But I think of the Marvel movies that came out this year, I think Eternals had the best visual effects. I like the glyphs, like when they're using their powers, like the glyph effects that come across. I liked whenever they talk to Arishem, or like
the sound and
the things, like
in
I
IMAX.
thought that was well done. The sound is solid, like when they do go to those sequences. Yeah, I think that I think that all those sequences are really well done. I just wish that the movie was better to match it, because otherwise, if it was good to match, if it was on that level to match some of the really like cool looking visual effects, then I would say that it is like Dune for me, where it's it's giving me something that's like really interesting. But the problem is that the writing, I think, is not strong, and I think that Chloe Zhao, I think that in some ways she was the right choice, but in other ways I think that she needed help in some way. I don't know if she was necessarily the best choice for this project.
Yeah, that's all I got.
That's everything from me as far as is concerned.
All right, well, this might be one of our longest episodes.
Yeah, at first I thought we were kind of going through it pretty quick, and then as we got further along, it's like, ooh, the length. So I guess with that, like I said, we will be adding like our predictions, not just for these categories, but for all the other categories as well, to Twitter. We'll also, and like I said, you can also follow my letterbox. It's at I believe Gone Guy 97. I'll add it to the link tree. I don't know. But yeah, definitely give me a follow there. And yeah, so thank you for listening. You can find us on all social medias at the BDE Pod. You can also find us on YouTube as well as anywhere you get your podcasts. Yeah, I have nothing else to add. Do you?
No, that's all from me. So I guess with that, I'm Brandon.
And I'm Daryl.
Thank you for listening for another episode of the BDE Podcast.
Yes.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Goodbye.